So we're back with another video, the second week of Carrie's training. I try to practice with a bit regularly, so we're using the happy mouth again. And I try to create an environment that's just relaxed for her and not stressful. I kind of try and let her decide to accept it, keep it calm. I'm not helping her by opening her mouth at this stage, because I know that she knows what she's supposed to do. We've practiced with rope. Donkey's not really the most helpful, but I'd like to think he's trying to offer some moral support, but in actual fact, I think he just wants some treats. So if it doesn't work straight away, it's okay. Leave it for a moment, take it away. As you can see, she's going for the bit. She's not stressed about it. But then she's just not quite sure how to take it, but we keep giving her gentle encouragement. Wait for her to say, yeah, okay. And then you can see, there we go. She raises her head a little bit, which isn't ideal, but the fact is she's not stressed, she's calm. That's it, put her ears through. We were attacked by a lot of flies at that time, so none of them were particularly very happy. You can see I didn't give her a big pat, which isn't really ideal. Normally I try and give her some reassurance, but instead I opted for treats, which is a little bit controversial at times, because sometimes they can get a little bit nippy. Right, so here we are doing some warm-up lunging again with the bridle. I don't want everything to just be about the bit, so I wanted to get used to it. It's just a part of our routine. So there you go, as you can see. She's trotting nicely. She's not really tracking up. But I'm not too worried about that at this stage because she's not that fit. We haven't developed a lot of muscle, as you can see. We're not trotting for long periods of time. See, she's chewing, so she's submissive. And she's accepting the bit. She's not really stressed about anything at this point. When I can, I try to avoid using whips because I'd like to think they should be able to respond just to my voice and to cues, but very often that doesn't work because she's lazy and she knows what she can get away with, and she knows actually there's not a lot I'm going to do about it if she doesn't do it. As you can see, she's looking elsewhere. She's not that focused on me. The flies are annoying her, but I just get a little bit quicker with the rope, and then she's like, oh, okay, sure, let's give it a go. It's quite a lazy trot, but I don't mind as long as, at this stage, as long as she's doing what I'm asking, then I'm happy. There's no real tension in the rope. Let her do her thing, and then I kind of let her come to me. This is a bit of an experiment, so I apologise for the quality here, because it's a bit of an experiment with the phone, and I didn't realise the person filming it was doing that, so Carrie's face isn't really in focus, but it's important for me to see how she lets go of the bit, and it's difficult at the time, because she can just raise her head like that, but you can see she's not stressed, she's not leaning back. So here we go, the next time we're working, again, start with the bit. She's lifting her head up more, which isn't ideal. But you can see she's not really happy because of the flies anyway. She's constantly having problems with the bit, which is a little bit frustrating. But the more we can make it normal, regardless of the behaviour around it, the happier I am. But for now, we're sticking with the happy mouth bit, letting her do her thing. So this time I want to work with a saddle. I've got a shorter rope so that it's less chaotic. And she's alright. She's not the biggest fan of the saddle. Also, I'll apologise for the quality of these videos at this point because they're taken on a phone and they're sent. So this was one of her habits that she used to do a couple of years back. She'd always spin around whenever the saddle came near her. Now, you could say tie her up, which would be ideal, but she can still move around, and she's been known to fling herself at people if she can't get away. So I want her to know she has the freedom but also to know what she's supposed to do. So you say, okay, the saddle's on properly. Let's make sure I haven't messed it up too badly this time. Wasn't sure if it was going to rain at that point. There were a lot of flies, and then this massive grey cloud was looming over us. So time was of the essence. And then we say, okay, let's go back to where we started. We're not just going to let you decide where we're going to stand. This is where we want to be. And you can see she's relaxed. She's not standing great, but we try and correct that so that she's standing square when we're tacking up, so that everything's comfortable, can see that everything's on properly. She can be quite nervous around the girth, so I still try to show it to her. So that it's like, okay, this is the next bit that's happening. I'm not just going to suddenly tighten something around your belly. You can see she's not really too fussed about it at this stage. I take my time. We're not in any rush. I always try and reassure her that everything's okay, that there's nothing to be stressed about, this is happening. So I'll try and touch the areas where the girth will go before I actually tighten up the girth, because she's a little bit ticklish under her armpits. And if she can feel it moving when it's not tight, that's when she's the absolute worst of it, because she can feel it, she's stressed about it, but it won't go away when she twitches. So it can escalate into proper bucking. I think I mentioned that in the last video, but as you can see with this girth, she's quite relaxed. So this time we're saying, okay, now we've tacked up, let's go for a little walk. First things first, put the stirrups down. I shake them around a bit so they make some noise, so that she's aware there's something on her back that will make noise, and that it's nothing to be worried about. Saying, okay, let's walk, let's get used to the feel of the saddle. Because one of the reasons that I think I fell off was that she wasn't expecting a certain sound or a certain feeling on her back, and then she spooked, and then I lost my balance, and then she completely freaked out that I lost my balance. But I want her to be at a point that as long as she's with me and as long as I'm giving her instructions, there's nothing she needs to be worried about. But being a mare, she's very unpredictable. So you can see she's walking around calmly, consistently, tracking up. She's not worried at all. But there are days when she won't walk around and she'll spook and she'll buck. Regardless of the tack, she just suddenly won't like one spot where we're walking. As you can see, it's not a big field, but every week or so the scary spot changes. Then we're doing the untacking as well. As you can see, I'm not forcing her to stand there. There's no tension in the rope. I'm doing my thing, making sure it doesn't hit her when I drop it. I used to pull off the saddle as normal and then hook the girth over, but since she started misbehaving with it, I want everything to be a calm and slow process. So I'll take the girth off properly from both sides, leave the saddle on, let her see if she wants to, but she's usually not too fussed. She's just waiting to get rid of everything. You can see Donkey's still waiting for a treat, so he's really not that helpful there, but we try to just ignore it. So again, she's thinking about dropping it, and she's a bit hesitant, but then because it's not metal, she can grab it, and she's like, oh, it's not that bad. See, there's no panic. Alright. So the next time I decided to focus more on other things and didn't bother with the bridle, didn't bother with the saddle, just focused on her listening to me. And you can see the weather is very nice. So we're happy. Donkey's enjoying himself, rolling around. So it was a nice day just to do something a little bit different. Especially while the weather's good and the ground's dry. So she tried to stop there, because she's lazy and she doesn't want to work. But it was okay. We say, no, that's not acceptable. If I ask you to walk, you keep walking until I tell you to do something else. Yeah, Donkey really isn't a fan when people are recording, so he'll always try and get in the way. And then you can see she's doing a bit more of a more enthusiastic trot, but she's still not quite tracking up. A few years back, she injured her back right leg, and that's been a bit of a cause of concern because as you can see, her left side she's tracking up closer than her right side. But I think that is to do with muscle. So there I was trying to ask her to canter, but she wasn't really. She just wasn't sure when to change lead. So you can see she's rubbing her head. She's trying to relax. So you say, okay, you can relax. So let's change sides. See if we get better this way. Whenever I lunge her, I don't really. You should keep a proper circle. But for me, it's just trying to keep some control of her and exercising her. So I'm not too fussed about the size of the circle or the roundness of it at this point. So you can see I got the whip out to try and say, okay, no, we do want to canter. We are busy. We want to do things properly. So you can see she's a little bit uncomfortable with it. She's not sure how to do it. But we say that's all right. We'll keep trying again. I try and do it on the curve and the downhill because that's when she seems to find it easiest to move. And you can see, changed nicely. She's not quite sure. She's not strong with those muscles, but she did well. So what I wanted to do this time was say, okay, let's do it again. So that we try and build up some fitness, that it's not just a couple of strides of canter and that's it. So we say, okay, go on, off you go again. But this time she decides it's too difficult and goes full gallop. I have no real choice but to let go of the rope. And then she stops. Thankfully she doesn't run over the cameraman. But she's alright. She's like, okay, I'm not too stressed. Doesn't matter, she's not tangled in the rope, so now she just has to wait. I reapproach her and be like, okay, that's not a problem. We'll pick everything up. As you can see, she's aware of the rope and trying to get rid of it, but it's okay. I never want to punish her for doing things like that, and we say, okay, here's a pat, let's carry on, let's try again. So this time I lose the whip, just to kind of ease the pressure away from her, that she doesn't feel that need to go. And you can see she's already a little bit happier, but she's still not too sure. She has those explosive moments, and those are the things that I'm nervous about when riding her. But you can see, we say, okay, back to the whip. It's nothing to be stressed about. We just want to have a nice moment to canter. And she's not afraid of it, but she is aware that that means she needs to go forward. So I'll always make sure she's not afraid of it, and I'll stroke her with the whip and make sure it's all okay. You can see, nice transition. I try and keep the lunge line relatively loose, but she still needs guidance. So then we're happy, and then we say, that's exactly what I wanted. You did great. Now let's do it the other way. You can see she's blowing her nose, and that usually means they're relaxing about it all. See, a beautiful transition, nice strides. And I try and let her canter as long as she can. So you can see I've reached the end of the rope, but then I say, okay, we have to stay relatively close to me. You can't just run off in a straight line. And there we go. That's it. Thanks for watching.